All right, here is the very latest on LeBron James. He met with Pat Riley, the president of the Heat, for about an hour in Las Vegas. Sources telling our Chris Broussard, like Jorge mentioned, that LeBron will not make a decision tonight. Sources also saying that LeBron hasn't yet made up his mind. Josina Anderson and Mark Schwartz had you covered from Cleveland and Miami.
They call Heat President Pat Riley the Godfather, and Heat fans everywhere are hoping he can make LeBron James an offer that James cannot refuse. No one here in Heat Nation expected that the Heat would have to recruit LeBron James. After 4 straight trips to the finals, 2 championships, they did this 4 years ago.
Not 2, not 3.
But with reports that the Cavs are now an overwhelming favorite to get James's services, the fact that the Cavs made a trade which freed up maximum salary cap room, panic is reigning here in the city of Miami, along with the thunder and lightning that has come down all afternoon long. In Miami, Mark Schwartz, ESPN.
Well, the wait for LeBron James, the decision 2.0, continues to impact the hearts of fans here in Cleveland and also the futures of Cavs players. Cavs guard Jarrett Jack told me he actually anticipated his involvement in a 3-team deal that potentially could send him to Brooklyn, especially after news broke of LeBron James' potential homecoming. Jarrett Jack telling me, I heard rumblings about it, and certainly a lot would have to be done to clear cap space for LeBron, but he understands that the Cavs have to do what they have to do in order to potentially acquire a guy like him. Now, while one NBA general manager in the Eastern Conference told me that he actually thinks that LeBron James should return to Miami on a 1+1 deal and consider going back to Cleveland next year, fans here in Cleveland seem to be hanging their confidence on every Kevin Love, Carmelo Anthony, Andrew Wiggins, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh rumor as tea leads to a possible reunion. That's why one source in the Cavs organization told me, we don't want to say one single thing to mess this up. In Cleveland, I'm Josina Anderson, ESPN.
Just moments ago, LeBron got out of his face-to-face meeting with Pat Riley. What is the very latest on that, Brian?
Well, they met in Las Vegas for over an hour. It was LeBron James, his agent, Rich Paul, Pat Riley, the president of the Heat, and Andy Ellsberg, the Heat's general manager. And the Heat had certain things they wanted to say. LeBron had certain things they wanted to say. But what wasn't settled was LeBron's contract. He left without giving a commitment and without giving an indication of what he's going to do. He has not yet scheduled a meeting with the Cleveland Cavaliers. That possibly could be forthcoming. The fact that he hasn't made up his mind yet and didn't give the Heat a decision implies that he's going to think about things over the next 12 to 24 hours. We have been told that no decision will come tonight, but obviously, as always, things in this situation are fluid. Well, we have these 2 teams, the Cavs and the Heat, talking to each other through roster moves, okay? So LeBron sets the meeting with Pat Riley on Wednesday over the weekend. The Heat go forward and make 2 roster moves 2 days ago, getting Josh McRoberts and Danny Granger in. Then the Cavs respond with their big move today to free up more than $22 million in cap space, a giant flashing red sign that says, we have the space for LeBron now, putting the pressure back on the Heat, going into their meeting today to come up with some sort of reaction. Okay, they have space, LeBron, but we have this. And I'm told that's what the plan was for the Heat in this meeting, to put out in front of LeBron on the table, here's what we have done, here's how this fits, and here are the moves we potentially could do if you recommit. But what's happening right now is the squeeze is getting put on Chris Bosh because he's got this other deal with Houston out there, and now all of a sudden, Houston's got a problem because Chandler Parsons is entering into a situation with the Dallas Mavericks. We're going to have a 3-day clock starting at midnight tonight. So at some point here, somebody's got to do something, either LeBron or Bosh, and the Heat have no control over either.
We'll talk more about that move for the Rockets and Mavs coming up in just a little bit on SportsCenter. But, Mark, we've got these teams like Cleveland and Miami making these moves based on the fact that they're trying to get LeBron back. Well, one of those teams isn't going to get him. So then what happens to those teams who have made these moves to get LeBron when they don't get LeBron?
Well, Cleveland was going to make moves like this regardless. I think people need to recognize the Jarrett Jack, Marcus Thornton, which is the guts of that trade. That's something these teams have been talking about for a long time. Cleveland has incentive to clear cap space to go after somebody else in free agency or just to give themselves more financial flexibility going forward for the future. For Miami, though, I mean, if they don't get LeBron James, they're starting at ground zero again. You know Chris Bosh in that scenario, he's going to go to Houston. What on earth do Pat Riley and Dwayne Wade do if those guys walk out the exit door? Cleveland's got Kyrie Irving. They just drafted Wiggins. They've got pieces to make moves and have a longer-term future. Obviously, they'd be devastated if they don't get LeBron, but they will go on and find a way to build a competitive team. For Miami, they're really starting all the way over if LeBron walks out that
Sort
door.
of like where the Cavs were in 2010. You know, the Heat are trying to sell LeBron on a future that they don't have a certainty of. It's actually a weird reversal of positions.
Can you imagine the Heat losing like 25 straight games next season?
Well, the difference is when the Cavs were trying to sell it, they hadn't just won 2 titles in 3 years. And that's what everybody with Miami would scream at me when I say that. But the situation here in 2010 is eerily similar when you look at the two choices LeBron has to the way it was back then.
It's been a very interesting day, Brian, with the pictures of LeBron at his camp in Las Vegas, the picture of the moving trucks outside of his house in Miami. Just kind of put a bow on the day and give us a little timetable for what the day was like for LeBron James.
You know, I think this was all according to plan. You know, he had this planned out for a while. As far as him moving his cars, it's my understanding he moves his cars every summer. For all we know, that was scheduled months ago for moving trucks to come today. And he planned to go to this. This camp has been scheduled for months. He's been scheduled to go to this for months. He just squeezed in a meeting. He's going back to the camp later today as a part of routine business. I know that the whole world, the whole NBA world at least, is hanging on everything that's going, and I'm sure he's feeling some stress. But I don't think anything is bothering him at all right now, really. I think he's just going about his business.
He's got all the leverage. We're in a frenzy. I don't know that he's in a frenzy.
We definitely are in a frenzy. And we've got Mark Stein back in just a little bit. Brian, thank you very much for joining us. Once again, no decision you think will be made today for LeBron James.
Everything is fluid.
It's July. Anything can happen.
Extremely fluid.